Inside the battered fortress, the atmosphere was defined by urgency and controlled desperation. After surviving a devastating assault, the defenders of Belgrade faced the harsh reality that another attack could come at any moment. Every broken wall, every depleted weapon rack, and every exhausted soldier told the story of a garrison pushed to its limits. As the sun rose over the damaged stronghold, repair efforts began immediately. Teams of soldiers and civilians worked side by side to mend the shattered defenses. Stones were hauled into place, wooden barricades were erected, and earth was packed into gaps left by artillery strikes. The fortress walls, scarred by constant bombardment, became the focus of an unrelenting race against time. Commanders moved quickly to reorganize their forces. Units that had suffered heavy casualties were merged, and fresh volunteers were assigned to critical positions. Weapons were inspected, repaired, and redistributed with strict efficiency. Every sword, bow, and firearm was accounted for, as the defenders prepared for the likelihood of another massive assault. Supplies presented an equally pressing concern. Quartermasters implemented careful rationing to stretch dwindling resources. Food and water were distributed under tight supervision, ensuring that every member of the garrison received just enough to maintain strength. Ammunition was conserved whenever possible, with orders emphasizing precision over waste. The fortress interior transformed into a hive of coordinated activity. Blacksmiths worked tirelessly at their forges, repairing damaged armor and reshaping bent weapons. Medical tents overflowed with the wounded, where healers struggled to treat injuries with limited tools and remedies. Despite the grim conditions, the determination to continue resisting remained unbroken. Religious leaders played a vital role in sustaining morale. Priests moved among the defenders, offering prayers and words of encouragement. Gatherings were held within the fortress where soldiers and civilians alike sought comfort in shared faith. These moments of unity provided emotional strength, reinforcing the belief that their struggle carried profound significance. From the ramparts, scouts monitored the Ottoman camp with constant vigilance. Reports of enemy movements were relayed swiftly to command posts. Any sign of renewed preparations triggered immediate defensive adjustments. The defenders understood that surprise could prove fatal. Engineers and experienced officers identified the fortress's weakest points and concentrated their efforts there. Additional barricades were constructed behind vulnerable sections of wall, creating layered defenses designed to slow any breakthrough. Archers and gunners were positioned to maximize coverage of likely assault routes. Training continued, even amid exhaustion. Officers drilled replacement troops in defensive tactics, ensuring that every fighter understood their role. Communication signals were reviewed and rehearsed, minimizing the risk of confusion during battle. Discipline remained strict, as commanders sought to maintain order under extreme pressure. Night brought no relief from the relentless pace of preparation. Fires burned across the fortress as work crews continued repairs under torchlight. The sounds of hammering and shouted instructions echoed through the darkness. Sleep came in brief intervals, stolen whenever possible between duties. Civilians within the fortress contributed in every way they could. Women and older residents carried supplies, prepared bandages, and assisted in reinforcing defenses. Their involvement underscored the collective nature of the struggle. The survival of the fortress depended on the efforts of every individual within its walls. Tension remained constant as the defenders anticipated the next Ottoman move. The memory of previous assaults lingered vividly, serving as both a warning and a source of resolve. Each repaired breach represented not just a physical barrier, but a symbol of defiance. Commanders conducted regular inspections, ensuring that preparations met the highest standards possible under the circumstances. Any weakness was addressed immediately. The chain of command functioned with heightened efficiency, reflecting the shared understanding that mistakes could not be afforded. Amid the physical labor and strategic planning, the spiritual dimension of the defense remained ever present. Priests organized continuous cycles of prayer, creating a rhythm that paralleled the practical efforts of repair and preparation. For many defenders, these rituals offered a sense of calm amid chaos. As days passed, the fortress gradually regained a measure of stability. Though still heavily damaged, its defenses were stronger than they had been immediately after the assault. Confidence grew cautiously among the garrison. They knew the enemy retained overwhelming strength, but they also recognized their own resilience. Scouts eventually reported increased activity in the Ottoman camp, confirming that another confrontation was imminent. The defenders responded with final adjustments to their positions. Supplies were checked once more, and weapons were distributed according to carefully planned priorities. In the hours before the expected attack, a quiet determination settled over the fortress. Conversations were brief and purposeful. Many soldiers sought out moments of reflection, standing silently along the walls or joining in prayer. The shared anticipation created a powerful sense of unity. The desperate preparations within the fortress illustrated the depth of the defenders' commitment. Every repaired stone and rationed resource represented a refusal to surrender. Their efforts transformed a battered stronghold into a renewed bastion of resistance. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows over the walls, the defenders stood ready. The fortress, though scarred and weary, embodied their collective will to endure. Whatever force the enemy would unleash next, it would meet a garrison strengthened by preparation, faith, and unyielding resolve. The stage was set for another decisive chapter in the siege. Within the fortress, the defenders waited in disciplined silence, their desperate preparations complete and their determination unwavering.